Welcome back to the show, everybody. This is the Upper Tier Podcast, the football podcast we bring you every single day. Head over to YouTube, smash that subscribe and bell notification button. And most important, drop out of the chat, like the video, get back in the chat. That's what we want to see. Joining me as always on the Thursday night, it's Thursday Tier Talk, our final one before the international break. Darren, these seem to come around way too quick, don't they? But anyway, our final Thursday Tier Talk before the international break. So we'll be looking for suggestions for next week's show. Might even get Darren on a wrestling show next week and change it up a bit, maybe. Let's see.
Ooh, Chavo.
There we go.
Din. There's a bit of a change happening here.
Yeah.
One Alejandro Garnacho is coming off the bench for Manchester United. It's half time here. He's on the pitch getting instructions from one of the coaches with an iPad, and he's giving it a pinky and a pokey, and he's telling him where to go and what to do. Now, I don't know who the change is. I would assume it's either Diallo or Højlund. Højlund is on the pitch, so I assume it's Diallo because I don't imagine he's taken Rashford off after the first half he had. However, I stand to be corrected possibly here. Diallo is also on the pitch. What am I watching here? So the best player we had in the first half was Marcus Rashford, and it looks like he's been hooked at half time.
What the hell is that? Is this guy looking to be sacked or what?
Does
he must be looking to be getting binned off. He's hardly injured, is he?
I don't know. And I can't hear because I have the volume down. However, Rashford off, Garnacho on. Rashford with a goal and an assist in the first half, and he was instrumental in United's good play in the first half, and he has been hooked at half time. Now,
do you know what I did notice in the first half though? He hadn't got a huge amount of interest in closing balls in coming from the right to the left into your box.
He did. I know what you're talking about from the cross, but he did defensively. He did quite well, and actually, certainly, to watch him firsthand on Sunday, he was in much better form than I've seen him in previously, especially going back towards his own goal. Now, maybe it's a thing where it was pre-planned. He was going to play half of the game, and they were going to give Garnacho minutes because Ahmad didn't start the weekend. Ahmad came off, so maybe between it, Garnacho's going to get, the best part to say 90 or 100 minutes. Diallo will get the same, and Rashford will get the same on a totting up process, if that makes sense, yeah?
Yeah.
That's the only thing I can think of. Now, I was actually, just before we touch on anything else, I was watching the Chelsea team. Chelsea are obviously in action tonight as well.
Yeah, again, 1-0 up against Vega.
They're 1-0 up, and Vega, Renata Vega, but he's basically made 11 changes. Because obviously it's a secondary competition or a third competition. It's the conference, but also they're flying in the league. So he's given guys a break. He's given guys time to rest and recuperate ahead of the weekend. And he has what you would call a weekend and a midweek team. And then your midweek team drives your weekend team on, because if they can put in performances and score goals and do stuff like that, they'll get themselves involved in that conversation. It's really clever.
Yeah,
really clever.
Gives them potentially more options.
And it gives him more options. He's got a guy playing left back tonight who's come on and scored a goal. So what does that do for him going forward? Does that propel him into the conversation? Really, really clever. Loved the idea. And just said, I wanted to give him his flowers on it. I'm not somebody who only wants to give flowers when they're in a red jersey. I'm happy to give them to anyone who I feel like is doing the right thing. And Maresca at the minute is absolutely doing the right thing. Could be in trouble here. He hits that. It's a good save.
Yeah, down very close to the ankle. Good save.
Real good save. You were obviously a little bit ahead of me, Niall.
As you do. Which is unusual, because you're normally a couple of minutes ahead of me.
You keep those bits to yourself now. Don't be popping up when there's a goal goes in or anything. I don't want to hear any of it.
Man, you'll say it. I'll be down there. In the chat, Baz is in. Big up, Baz. Good to see you, my friend. Welcome back as well. Came back on Monday from Lanzarote. Daz is in. What's the crack? No, Dazzler, all good. And Joanne is in. Joanne, no doubt you have your bets ready. No doubt about it. Let's go.
Captain Caramel himself. Good man, Baz. Hope you had a lovely holiday, pal.
I have a slide here, and I want you to think about it and not answer it now, but think about it during the show. And I'd like the chat to think about it.
I thought you were segueing in there when I said Captain Caramel. I did think there was some girls going to show up on the screen with their... No. Okay, fair enough.
No. That's the world of Twitter for that type of thing.
Okay.
If Ten Hag goes, and there is a possibility that happens during the international break, I want you to think about who you would like in there. Who would be your number one choice? You don't have to give it to me now.
I can though.
No, but I want you to wait. I want you to hold back because I want the chat to think about it as well.
I can give it now though if you want.
No, because you're ruining it. You're spoiler.
I don't mind though. And there's a particular reason for this.
Yeah, I know, but you can't. You're gonna have to wait.
I will. I'll hold back. But I'm going to give you my theory behind the whole situation a little bit later on, because actually this is a conversation that we had on Sunday evening in the hotel room, all 5 lads who were at the match. And we went through some options and stuff like that. And I'll go through how we broke it down and things like that. And I'll give you what we came out with. All right. And then you tell me.
Did you come out with a consensus?
I don't think there was a consensus, but I think there was certainly a consensus around, that's 3-2 to Porto.
Now you're ahead of me.
I changed channel.
That's a lovely goal into the roof.
It's a good cutback, and he's finished it really well. This is the kid that Chelsea put big money on the table for during the summer. The boy who was involved, Samu, who was in the... Now, at first glance, by the way, I think when the first ball is played, the Porto lad is offside. We will see now in a minute. I think the first ball is offside, which is the guy who crosses the ball into the box. Now, let me see. Does he go early? Oh, no. Mazraoui's playing him on the right-hand side.
That's 2 now for Rikishi's tag partner, yeah?
Yes, and it's the second time he's pulled on to Matthijs de Ligt, and it's the second time he's beaten him to the ball in 15 minutes, and it's the second time.
The header was shocking, wasn't it, earlier? Really
well, I mean,
poor.
like, what would you mean by really poor now?
Well, I think a central defender of the Litz level should read that and see that very quick and get across that and clear it. He shouldn't let a guy like that snipe in like that, really.
I think at first glance, we've 2 problems. The first problem is the cross should have been stopped, right?
Absolutely.
Right, cross should have been stopped. When he plays the ball, Samu is in the opposite side to him. Yeah, he's not goal side. Thing is goal side, and Samu's he actually makes a really good move across him.
He does.
To get there and snipe in, and he's finished it really well. I also looked at Onana's position, and the only thing that saves him for me is the ball's actually bending away from him. Had it been coming the opposite way, I would expect the keeper. I actually kind of think the first thing I'd have an issue with was not stopping the cross, because I think between the keeper and De Ligt, I think they haven't done a whole lot wrong. I don't think they've covered themselves in glory, but I don't think they've done a whole lot wrong. Was that? Oh, that was almost 3-3 down the far end. But a keeper came out and just smothered in the 6-yard box ahead of Bruno Fernandes.
Basketball game here at the moment.
We knew this was going to happen. The one thing I will say about the candidates, we were able to come to a consensus around 2 or 3 names.
Cool.
And it was, if we can get to that list, we'll take what's on it. You know?
Cool. Yeah, absolutely. Let us know in the chat as well, especially you United fans in the chat. Who would you like to see as the next manager of Man United, assuming Ten Hag potentially goes at the weekend? Let's say. Right, let's get into a Premier League preview. We start off 12:30, not unusual as well. Crystal Palace versus Liverpool.
Yeah, really, really, really big game this. Not so much of a big game for Liverpool. Obviously, they're top of the league at the minute. 8 wins out of 9 for Arne Slot since he's came in. So really, really good form. I think he's kept the ball rolling really well for Liverpool. We've seen probably a change in. Oh, unlucky. Who was that? Oh, sorry. Bruno Fernandes nearly scores there. Takes a lovely ball on the edge of the box and rolls the defender. Gets it onto his right foot and pings one across the goal and just misses the far post. Now, he's right. He should get a corner for it because it hits the studs of the defender, but the referee gives a goal kick. Anywho, Slot, just giving Slot his flowers again. I think he's done really well for Liverpool. There's obviously been a change in the style, but he's kept the momentum, which I think, certainly from my point of view as an outsider, I wasn't sure that that's something that they were going to be able to do, was keep the momentum the way they have and being as competitive as they have in every game. And they've done really, really well. So big up to Slot for that. I think this is a huge game for Crystal Palace. I think at the minute, Palace are the what if story in the league right now. We know they also obviously finished like a train last season under Oliver Glasner, but with a couple of sales in the summer, one Michael Elise who's tearing it up at Bayern, and one Joachim Anderson who's actually doing very, very well at Fulham as well. And with the two boys exiting the building, it's made life very, very difficult at Palace. They haven't been able to have the performances and they haven't been able to get the result. Last weekend was a big loss for them at Goodison Park. A huge loss. That would have been one of the games that Crystal Palace looked at and said, this is the time for us to get the ball rolling. And they didn't. So I think that's a big, big letdown for Glasner and for Palace. I think there's huge pressure on Glasner at the minute. I think Liverpool have good form. They're scoring goals. They're not too bad defensively. They're tight enough, And I would go pretty similar to the two boys ahead of me, to Joanne and Daz. I think something along the lines of 3-1 Liverpool cut it back. Oh man, 3-1 Liverpool is where I'm going. Sorry, United should have done better there. Got down the left hand side, got to the byline. Very similar to a moment ago where the ball was cut back into the 6-yard box, but they didn't get it past the keeper again. You got in the same position twice in 3 minutes, and both times you didn't pass the 6'4" guy in the yellow jersey. That's poor. You've got to pick passes. You can pull the ball back towards the penalty spot and let someone play it on the way in,
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I'd be happy with that. That result would be great. I'd love that. Arsenal versus Southampton. Yeah,
we've obviously spoken a lot about Arsenal, and I thought last weekend that was a real gritty performance from them. I know they were 2-0 up, and obviously to drop and to for the game to be 2-2 and going into the dying embers would have been a huge drop if that happened. But for them to come out in the last kind of 8 minutes of extra time and to pull 2 out and actually get some sort of a gloss on it was phenomenal. Every single week I watch Arsenal, something more leads me to think that they'll be league champions this year. I look at what they're doing and I look at the parallels between a lot of the teams that have won the leagues over the years in how they're able to go out and play poorly at times, like they did against Spurs, get a result, go down to 10 men against City, come away with a draw. Last weekend, they weren't playing very well. It was 2-2, dying moments of the game. They pull it out of the fire. I think Arsenal's name is written on the trophy, and I think this Saturday will be an easier day at the office for them. And I expect Arsenal to come over the line here. I reckon about 3-0.
Joanne's going for 5. Interesting.
Yeah.
Jack, hold fire on that Trent comment. We'll chat about that later. It came out later on today, so we will talk about it. Brentford versus Wolves.
Yeah, another kind of big game. Brentford dropped a couple of points at home last weekend. Obviously went to goal up against West Ham, but were pegged back. With the game finishing 1-1. I think some of the Brentford performances are quite good, but at the minute they just haven't got the points on the board that they would want. Now I know they've got still quite a few injuries at Brentford, especially to the two lads up front that they spent the money on to kind of get them in to replace Tony and stuff like that. So if the two lads are still out, which is tough for them. But I think Mbeumo doing a good job there for them as always. Wolves on the back of the defeat last week to you guys. There's no embarrassment losing to Liverpool. Obviously, it happens to the best of us.
They played well as well.
Yeah, listen, I look at the Wolves team at the minute and I'm seeing lots and lots of positives. The only positive I'm not seeing is points on the board. And that at the minute, leaves Gary O'Neill in a difficult position Now, I do not think at any stage will they pull the trigger, because I think if they're looking at things and they watch the way Wolves are playing and they watch, the shape and stuff like that they have, that they're moving in the right direction. I think they need to rub of the green a little bit, and I think they need to be a little bit tighter at the back. But I think Wolves will be all right. I think this is a game Wolves can get into on the counter attack, because I think they're a really, really good counter attacking team. And I'm gonna tip Wolves to get something out of it, and I'm gonna say draw. I'm gonna say 1-1.
1-1 sounds Joanne, yeah. I'm gonna go for a Brentford win, because Brentford have just been like, I think what happens is if Brentford score early, I think Wolves are gonna have a real problem. Because there's just that pressure there at the moment, they might find it a little bit difficult. And Brentford have kind of been doing everything just by getting over the line, really, So
yeah, I think Wolves, though, in fairness to them, have been playing quite well, and they've come up against, if you look at who Wolves have played so far. So obviously last week they played Liverpool, they were at home. The week before they were away in that Midlands derby against Aston Villa. They're two of the Champions League squad teams, right? The week before that they were home against Newcastle, another good side, yeah. Week before that they were away against Forest, got a draw. And then in the first couple of weeks of the season, they lost to Chelsea, who were in very good form, and they were away to Arsenal. So they've played 3 Champions League teams, Newcastle, Arsenal, and Forest. When they play the teams lower down the league, I think they'll pick up points.
Acers, don't be worrying about tonight's scores. I'd like to get your thoughts on Aston Villa last night after Monday's show.
Why? What did he say?
Bayern, we're going to hammer Villa.
Yeah, but sure, we know he hasn't got a clue about football. He knows less about football than he does about wrestling. So, let's not be giving our senses to these people, Niall. Jesus.
Chelsea versus Nottingham Forest.
Chelsea. I think it'll be, again, a tougher game. Good man. The child saying good night, 60 minutes on the match, time to go to bed, 20 past 9. Fair play to you. Close the door on your way out. Thanks very much. Appreciate you.
That's harsh. Half a game nearly. Good Lord.
Over half. He got the first half and the first 15 in the second half.
He could be the one that gets it over the line for you.
Nah, he's bedtime now. Yeah, I think Chelsea. I think tonight won't play a big part in it, because again we've seen 11 changes. I expect to see the likes of Palmer and Madueke and Jackson and stuff like that back on the weekend. And I think this will be Chelsea. But I do think Forest will create a little bit of problems. Oh, unlucky. I do think Forest, that's a free ref. Oh my God, what was wrong? He's bad as the lad on Sunday just sent off Fernandes. I do think Chelsea will get over the line, but I think Forest will cause them a little bit of difficulty with that front four of Wood and Elanga, Hudson-Odoi, and Gibbs White if he's not still suspended. And I think I'm going to say Chelsea 3-1.
Yeah, Forest under Nuno have surprised us this season. We were tipping them to be down in a kind of a huge struggle, really.
Aren't they the typical sort of Nuno team, though? Isn't? Well, I mean, if you look at it, like the teams he's done quite well with are Forest and Wolves. They were those mid-table teams that weren't going to have 70% of the play. I think when he was with Spurs, finish. Oh, I think when he was with Spurs and, there was huge expectations on how expansive they were going to play and stuff like that. That's when he struggled. I think the things that Nuno does very well is he gives them a great base to go and play, because they're very, very structured from the back. They don't concede lots of goals. They play on the counter. He has, square pegs and square holes, and he gets the absolute best out of them. I think that's exactly what he did at Wolves. So I think, it's another good move for him, and fair play to him.
You can't just say that, Acers. Villa took their chances, Bayern didn't.
But he only took one chance, let's be honest.
Yeah.
Only one. Do you know what I mean?
Absolutely.
But it's all about chances, because let's not forget, and let's not forget, because I did hear this last night, who's got the third highest XG in the Premier League at the minute?
I don't know, go on. I didn't look.
Us, Man United. Man United have the third highest expected goals per game ratio in the league at the minute. But it's worth nothing for us. So you can't just be like, oh, someone took their chances, someone didn't. You know, the game is more than just about that. It's about control. It's about possession, you know, and you need everybody in the park and the lads in the stands coming in and doing a job. So it can't be just as easy as, oh, well, they took chances. They didn't. That's not. Martinez did his job better than Neuer.
The disrespect for Emery in Europe is unbelievable at times. He's phenomenal.
He's phenomenal. He's a guy who, if anybody, has nothing to prove in Europe with what he's done at Sevilla and Villarreal and stuff like that. Phenomenal.
I have to say, I was delighted as well to see Champions League back at Villa Park last night. It was pretty special as well. And then to get the win against Bayern was the cream on the cake, really, wasn't it?
Yeah, and like you said, we know Aston Villa are a really well supported club, and you know they're one of the traditional big teams in England and stuff like that. They have a great fan base. They are a big club, and it was great to see them back in action and stuff like that. Yeah, 100%. Obviously not at our own expense, but great to see them there all the same. And a really, really well. That's a great ball. A really, really well run club, who put some good structures in place, and are now reaping the benefits behind the scenes. Big up Aston Villa. Well done.
Right, let's go. Leicester Bournemouth.
Yeah, so I'm gonna. Well, do I give the game away? You're
gonna have to.
Well, I'm a huge Bournemouth fan. I think when Scott Parker left, we all thought maybe there was going to be a big drop off, and obviously they brought in Anthony Iraola and stuff like that, and there was questions asked. I don't think there's any questions left to be answered by the boy Iraola. I have to say, I think between what he did last season and how they started the season this season, oh God, no. Jesus Christ. Who was that again? De Ligt is having a nightmare. Oh my God, what is wrong with you? You're 6'4", pal. Just head the thing and get rid of it. Oh, Jesus Christ.
I'm a little bit behind you, but that gap in the middle of your defense is shocking.
Oh my God, man.
In the middle of your defense is shocking.
Big fan of Iraola. Love how Bournemouth play football. They have some absolutely fabulous footballers. They work as a team. He gets every ounce of everything out of them. And I'm going Iraola and both to score. And I'm going to go Bournemouth 2-1.
Bournemouth 2-1, yeah.
Yeah.
Good show. Though Leicester at the King Power. Tough. Not easy. But yeah, good show. Onana's the worst keeper ever seen. Garbage.
Has he watched them play at all recently, no?
He's been your best player for the last month now.
by a country mile, no?
I would have thought so. And I would have thought he's probably your most improved player from where he was as well.
He's absolutely our most improved. He probably shares that with Marcus Rashford. But his performances over the last 4 weeks have been nothing short of astounding. Like, we lose 3-0 on Sunday, but if it's not Onana, we possibly lose 6 or 7. He was that good. And again, the result doesn't change. We lose the game. But, it doesn't look as bad as it could based on somebody doing their job to the best of their ability. And that's what he did, and that's what he's been doing.
Yeah, true. Man City, Fulham.
Yeah, this could be a banana skin. I think sometimes, after these Champions League games and stuff like that, we talk about it all the time. Obviously, the Thursday night football has a bigger impact. But, I mean, Wednesday to Saturday is the same sort of thing. They were away in Bratislava last night and whatever, and obviously got their result and that. And they weren't stretched too much by it. But still, guys had a bit of travel to do. They're obviously getting home probably today. Maybe do a cool down session tomorrow and stuff like that. Do something. Or no, they'll probably cool down today and did their cool down. They'll do their tactics and their set pieces tomorrow. So, like, not very easy. Fulham have been off this week and will have had time to work on things. We know how good a team Fulham are. And really, really think Fulham will give City a game. Now, I think City might get over the line, but I'm going to go City 3-2.
City 3-2.
Yeah. Double
Okay.
substitution. Amad Diallo coming off for Anthony. And Joshua Xerxes coming on for Rasmus Højlund. So your starting front three of Diallo, Rashford, and Højlund are gone. And now you have Garnacho, Anthony, and Xerxes.
Interesting.
So we shall see. We shall see. Anthony gone right, Garnacho on the left, almost matching shit haircuts, and Xerxes down the middle.
West Ham versus Ipswich.
I feel a little bit sorry for Ipswich at the minute. Like they've been so good, you know, performance wise, and they're putting a serious shift in every week for Kieran McKenna and stuff like that. And you've got to give him his flowers as well. But I just think there's a little lack of quality. Oh my God, did that just happen? Martinez falling over the ball here, giving it to the Porto lad on the edge of the box. I just think there's a little bit of a lack of quality at Ipswich. Now, like, there's some good players. I really like the boy. He's the ex-Chelsea lad, Omari Hutchinson. He's a really tidy player. I like the boy at left back, Leif Davis, another really, really tidy player and stuff like that. But I think at times there's a little bit of a drop off with what's on the pitch and what comes on and stuff like that. And I think they're just with what's in the squad, they're a little bit light. And I think going to West Ham, Julian Lopetegui needing a result, I think it's got West Ham written all over it. I'm going to go West Ham 3-1.
Do you know something? I think with the pressure that Lopetegui's on under there at the moment, with the way West Ham has started the season, I think this might be one where Ipswich get 3 points. I think the boy Delap up front has been excellent.
He has ex-Man City, has been very, very good. Had a little stint in the Championship at the end of last season with Stoke and stuff like that. Get in. Oh, lucky. And, you know, kind of gritted his teeth in the Championship and stuff like that. Did really, really well. And now he's reaping the benefits in the Premier League, because obviously we know the Championship's a really, really tough physical league. And now he's getting the benefits of it, because the Premier League isn't as physical. You get a little bit more space. Probably not as much time, but a little bit more space. And I think he's using it to the best of ability the minute the kid.
Right, 5:30 game, I presume. Everton versus Newcastle. Is this the final nail in the Sean Dyche coffin?
I don't know. Like last weekend, I didn't expect them to get a result. They put in a performance. They got a result. They got over the line. I think having Jared Brantwaite back is huge for them. Because I think, as we spoke about, Michael Keane had been such a bad partner for James Tarkowski. I think last weekend, all of a sudden, they concede one and they're able to get over the line. If they can do something similar this weekend, it would be huge. Now, I obviously understand Newcastle are a much, much better team than Palace are at the minute. But again, struggling for a little bit of form. And it's definitely not a home banker or an away banker for me. I think it'll be keenly contested. And I'm just going to say Newcastle to nick it. And I'm going to go Newcastle 2-1.
So if Newcastle nick it, what do you think going into the international break?
I don't think they budge.
Really?
No.
I think they stick?
I think they do. Just there's a couple of reasons I think they do. And one of the reasons I think they do is, like, if the performances are not as bad as the results, which I think at times they haven't been. I think if the performances aren't as bad as the result, and I think if, you know, you're getting lads back in the door fit and stuff like that, it's probably not the right time to pull the trigger.
Interesting. So you're going for Newcastle 2-1, is it? Toy win.
I'm going for Newcastle 2-1, exactly.
Yeah, Joanne's the same. Newcastle 2-1. Spot
Yeah.
on. Either Southampton and United will be looking for new managers in the international break. Tell you, let's go into Sunday then. Aston Villa versus Man United.
Yeah. This isn't a game I was looking forward to. I think we've struggled at Villa Park over the last few years. Emery's had a lot of answers when he's come up against United. And I think chance for the lick there should probably do a little bit better. Yeah, I think they've had United's number for the last few years. I think they'll be high on confidence after the game the other night. I think we've obviously lost to Spurs, and at the minute, it looks like it could be a loss on the road to Porto as well, unless we can nick something late on here. It's 2 defeats on the bounce. Confidence is low. Question marks against the manager and stuff like that. I think if we lose to Villa, and I think there's a huge possibility that happens. I think if we lose to Villa, I think that's good night, Irene.
Interesting. Are you're going for a Villa win, are you?
I'm gonna go. I'm gonna go 2-2.
2-2.
Yeah, I'm gonna go 2-2.
Interesting. So, if it's 2-2, does he survive the international break? Or is it signed and sealed at this stage, and it's just gone through the motions?
I think the issue is, I think it's more about when rather than if. Like, this would be Lazarus. This would be Jesus coming back from the dead. And on the third day, he rose. That's what this would be. Get it? Oh, unlucky. That's what this would be, and I don't know. Like, when I look at the team, I certainly believe there's enough there for the results to be better.
Yeah.
I certainly believe there's enough there for the performances to be better. So if that's what I believe based on what we have at the club, then stop. That was on the way in. It's after hitting Xerxes just before it got to the line. Did you see that?
Yeah, just saying there now, yeah.
Ball comes in from the cross. I think it's Diogo Dalot that crosses it. And it's a header from Casemiro. Wins the header, get in. And as he wins the header, he heads it goal bound. And it hits Joshua Xerxes on the way in and pops back out towards the penalty spot.
And that's when things are not going your way, when that kind of thing happens.
Yeah. That's a great ball. Oh, lucky. Couple of good little crosses from the right-hand side where Anthony's playing from. And just took the ball a couple of times on the right-hand side and was able to check in, do his usual, check in onto the left foot and bend something towards the goal. I think they need to be careful with that, Porto. And it looks like United are trying to do this. They seem to be setting the ball up to come down the right-hand side to get it to Anthony, to get him to check in with, the likes of De Ligt and Xerxes and stuff like that. And Casemiro coming in at that back post. Something to keep an eye on.
Yep. So you went 2-2, wasn't it?
I'm going 2-2.
Okay, and then we round out Brighton Spurs.
Looking forward to this game, actually. I've obviously spoken a bit about Spurs lately. Thought they were really, really, really good last weekend. They were really good value for money. We'll talk about other things in the game and stuff like that later, but Spurs can only do what Spurs, they can only control what they do. And from my point of view, I thought Spurs played really well last weekend. I thought they had a couple of lads who performed very, very well. And I think, where they were playing okay at the start of the season, weren't getting results. I think now they're building confidence. They're playing a little better, and they're starting to pick up the results. And I think Spurs will just get over the line against a stumbling Brighton at the minute. I think Brighton stumbled a little bit last week and the week before, and I think, again, they're probably a little bit light at the minute. Oh, unlucky. I think Brighton could do it. A couple of bodies back off the injury table just to give them that little boost and make life a bit easier,
Yeah, absolutely. Interesting. Good game to finish out. Good
absolutely.
Sunday, actually. Nice Sunday.
I think, do you know what? I'm actually going to go Spurs 3-1.
Spurs 3-1.
I think Spurs are better at the back at the minute than they have been in 35 years since the likes of Gary Mabbott was in there and Gordon Durant and guys like that. Like, just really, really good at the back. I think the boy Romero's been excellent. I think he has a really good partner now in Mickey van de Ven. super. The boy Samu was coming off now for Porto, which is a bit of relief for United, but somebody else going to come on and try and run us probably. But I think Spurs have been excellent at the back. I think Udogie and Porro are, for me, certainly two of the best fullbacks in the league on either side. And I think they've a sound, solid goalkeeper at the back in Vicario, and I think they're going places, Spurs.
Yeah, absolutely. We shall see. Did you see that? Did you see the clips with McGregor?
I did, unfortunately. He just makes everything look so cringy, doesn't he, McGregor? He's just such a bell end. Like, he looks like such a gimp everywhere.
Imagine
he really does.
Imagine he didn't know Declan Rice's history. Did you see that?
No.
He didn't know Declan Rice had played for Ireland. Declan Rice had to say it. No. It's in another video where they're kind of playing rugby. And they were talking about football, and Rice turns around and goes, he played for Ireland. And McGregor goes, no, I had no idea.
And it wasn't sarcasm?
I don't think so. Didn't look like it.
Hold on. Hang on. We're okay. 3-2 down. You bring on Harry Maguire and Johnny Evans to replace Delic and Martinez. And
Porto have just brought on Fabio Vieira, have they?
Yeah.
Interesting. I want to keep an eye on what that boy does. Daz has gone for 4-1 Spurs comprehensive win down at the MX.
I think too, yeah.
FAI Cup semi-final in the Aviva tomorrow and Sunday, and Rovers versus Shelbourne. It's going to be interesting.
Very good. Going to be busy.
What's the crack, guys? Just wanted to drop in to say hi. Can't stay on because I'm up early to fly over to Scotland for the weekend. I'm going over for a bit of Comic-Con in Edinburgh. Enjoy it, my friend. Enjoy it. Keep us updated as well. Send a few pics.
Tell us who's there. There's usually wrestlers at Comic-Cons. Who is at Comic-Con in Edinburgh? Which wrestlers are there? Hit us up in the comments, Keith. Yeah, good man.
And
he's one of the good guys there, Keith, isn't he?
Yeah, and who are you going over to see as well? Who's drawing you over? We shall see. Right, just want to get your thoughts in the chat as well, folks. And Darren, I'll get your thoughts on this as well. We had a brief chat about it in our WhatsApp group earlier today. Manager of the month for September. Your contenders are Arteta, Emery, Maresca, Marco Silva, and Arne Slot. Let us know in the chat who you think could get it. And for your player of the month, we have Harvey Barnes, Luis Diaz, Gabriel, Ryan Gravenberch, Raul Jimenez, who I'm very happy to see back after what he's gone through.
Absolutely.
Dwight McNeil sneaking in there with that brace for Everton. Cole Palmer and Ollie Watkins. Let us know in the chat. Manager and player, who are you going for? Keep us posted on that. And we'll give you our picks shortly when we see what you guys come up with in the chat.
Hang on. I think Bruno Fernandes is about to get sent off.
You're joking.
No. Well, he got booked in the first half.
He did, yeah, I've seen that.
And the ball just came into the box. It's whipped towards the goalkeeper. He goes up with his studs to try and win the ball and knock it goal bound. And somebody sticks their head in front of him. He's had to been red carded.
Straight or second yellow?
I'm not sure. I'm about to watch it here. Ball comes in. Does he make contact? Jesus.
We have VAR, don't we?
Second yellow.
He must make contact to the red because the goalkeeper is out straight away. It's not.
I don't know whether he's.
Goalkeeper's blindsided. He's slightly blindsided.
So I don't think the keeper sees it. And don't forget, they're Portugal teammates. But I don't think he makes contact with this lad.
I think that did he go straight red there, or did he go yellow red?
No, he went yellow red.
No, yellow red. Yeah, I see it there now. Yeah, he's not happy at all. He's having a mare these days, isn't he? Doesn't matter, sure, boy. Tomorrow will be resumed.
Watch the replay. There's a foot between his foot and your man's head. There's a clear foot
on the other angle.
Yeah, there's a full foot. Watch it when the ball comes in. There's a full foot. He's nowhere near the kid.
God, he does miss him, doesn't he?
He gets nowhere near him, and he's been done twice in fucking 4 days. That's shocking.
Yeah.
I get that his feet are high. I get that. He's gone with no intent to win the ball, and he makes zero contact. He's been done twice. That is Unbelievable.
Keith's
Oh
in.
my God.
I'm going to meet Mick Foley and Rikishi. Rikishi's tag partner was playing tonight. I was going to meet Kevin Nash as well, but he bailed last minute. James Storm is over there as well. James Storm was over wrestling for Fight Factory Pro Wrestling this last weekend in Dublin, actually.
Hang on, this to seal it. Oh, what a save. Big Onana with the feet. Very similar to his big save on Sunday late in the game. Win a free there, Anthony.
How does he not square it up to the back post?
What is this? Oh my God. There's a scuffle over by the touchline, and one of the lads runs into Anthony and jumps on the ground. He runs in. The first lad tries to put Anthony in a headlock, and the second lad runs in and pushes him and falls over himself. Watch this. Watch the replay. Is
this just a Portuguese thing or what?
This is horrific. I think he has to shoot on that. I don't think the other Portuguese player is getting up.
What's your man doing on the ground holding his face?
Is it? What's that about? Now, by the way, none of us are Anthony fans, by the way. So if that's gone wrong, that's fine. None of us are Anthony fans. But like, that's shocking. That's absolutely shocking. Jesus Christ.
Big up Zion. Bruno back-to-back beds. Man United captain shows the pits. The club is in right now. Yeah, he got one. The one was rescinded as well. I tell you one thing, he may have it. He probably won't have a case for that, would he? Because it was a second yellow. It was a high.
You don't have a case if it's a second yellow. But again, he's been done up like a kipper.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely.
And he's been done up by the reaction of the kid on the ground, who's gone down like he's been shot in the head, like he's in fucking like he's in Iran at the minute, and there's fucking missiles heading towards them. He's gone down like that.
In North London at the moment, they call that the dark arts. Don't they? There you go.
I'm not having it. I'm really not having it.
I'm going to cheer you up here. Give us your player and manager. Who are you going for?
Maresca and Palmer.
Selling.
I can't give it to Arnie after getting thumped by Bleeding Forest. You know what I mean? Give over, will you?
Now, thump now is a stretch.
No, but like you're at home against one of the relegation favourites and they roll you over and tickle you. Like, come on. You can't give him manager the month after that. It's his first defeat at the club. Give us a break.
Remember when top of the league counted for something?
Not this month.
Don't know about that. Right, we shall see. We shall see. Right, I wanted to get your thoughts on this. Pep being interviewed on managerial seconds. He says, people talk about projects and ideas. They don't exist. You have to win or you will be replaced.
Jesus, Mary and Joseph, are you watching this?
I am, indeed.
Did Harry Maguire just try and score an OG from 40 yards away there? He gave it a pretty good go. I
don't know. That's a...
Jesus Christ, man. What is he doing? That's brilliant. Lovely bit of play down the left-hand side from Garnacho. Drops the shoulder, comes in, goes back on the outside, does a little ticky-taka past him and puts a lovely ball in. It's just too far. It's pitched past the 6-yard line on the far side. But like, lovely to make the space. Just needs to put a better ball in the box. The Man United bench looks absolutely shell-shocked. You've got Victor Lindelof, Matthijs de Ligt, and Lisandro Martinez head in hands, and it just looks like the end of the world on that Man United bench right now.
They know.
Jesus Christ!
If there was ever a picture demanding change, that's your picture, isn't it?
Yeah, it's up there all right now, I have to say. Gotta say, I know we gave him, flowers earlier, but like even just there, United are deep in their own half. Onana's out 40 yards from goal and he's screaming at the centre-backs to give him the ball so we can launch attacks and get balls cross-field and try and get them in the game somewhat. It's not necessarily... Hit it. Oh, it's not necessarily his job or his area of expertise, but you can see the guy is a winner and he's passionate about winning and he has a bit of pride in what he's doing. He didn't have very good Rovers. He didn't have the best time of it last season, but he's bounced back this season like a true professional he has. I've got to give him his flowers on it.
I think because of experience, he knows if something isn't working, give me an opportunity to try something different. And that's
but there is a lot of guys at times he'll just go hiding, and he's certainly not doing that.
No.
He's certainly not doing that.
Listen, this is not a time for experienced senior players at United to go hiding either.
Yeah, but we have centre midfielders that don't want the ball the way the goalkeeper does. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. That's so it says a little bit about his character, and that for me is important.
I mean, even in his low points last season, he wasn't shy of coming out and doing interviews and saying how he felt and all. So,
absolutely, no, and he was
and more took responsibility and took his responsibility.
Oh, what a save! Oh, Garnacho! Oh, damn it! That was close.
Romy's in. Big up Romy. Me and Romy had a lot of fun last night. We were on we were in the chat on Morris's channel for the Mario Mancini show.
You are kidding me.
And they were talking.
A great save.
They were talking about the Vince documentary. And Mario, of course, Mario's a huge Brett fan and stuff like that. He loves Brett, you know. And he was talking about Brett not dropping the belt in Canada because he was Canadian. And then I made the point in the chat. I said, if that's the case, then do the American wrestlers not drop the belt anywhere in America?
Yeah, exactly.
You know,
exactly.
So it was interesting. We were having a laugh, but we had a good laugh. Romy and me, we were going back and forward. It was good crack. Chelsea 4-2 up against Ghent. And just to let you know, yeah. So what you make of this? This rootless, this is Pep. It's what we'd expect, isn't it? There's no messing.
Absolutely. No.
Pep doesn't believe in projects or transitions or any of that kind of crack.
I think there's elements to it that are true. I think when if I'm chairman of a club and I sit down with you and I say, listen, we have a project, we'd like you to head up this project, we have a guideline of what we'd like to do, we'd like to bring in younger players, build a squad, do this. I think that's all legitimate. The problem is when you lose 4 or 5 games on the bounce, that just gets rolled up in a ball and fucked out the window, pardon my French. And that's the problem. There at times not just coaches with players, but also boards with managers are too short-sighted about things. It's win or bust. And again, like, I am a believer in the process. I think if the process gets better and the results aren't better, I still trust the process because I know when the process is better, the results will naturally get better. I believe that. I'm a coach myself. That's part of my philosophy. I tell kids every day of the week, do it better. Because if you do it better, your results will get better. If you don't do it better, you might win short term, but you won't win long term. And that's how I feel.
Yeah, spot on, Romy. I knew you were in there for a bit of therapy, all right. I didn't want to bring it up, though, on a wrestling show. Pep never takes any prisoners. He certainly doesn't. United, is that right? United just scored, have they? Acer's in the chat.
Not on my screen, but that doesn't mean they haven't. It's 5 minutes of added time here. It's United corner. Anthony ball in the box. Comes to the edge of the box. Who's that? Mazraoui plays it to Garnacho. Garnacho checks in. Zips one. No, it's not. No, nothing here. Oh, hang on. Yeah, 3-3.
Yeah, Maguire header, apparently.
So it's obviously from the next corner. Garnacho took a shot and it was going on target. It hits one of the Porto boys. They block it and it goes wide for another corner. They're just about to take the corner now. It's Christian Eriksen, hand in the air, picks the ball, lifts it to the back stick. Harry Maguire, towering above the centre-back, heads it into the bottom corner. Get in, 3-3.
Yeah, Benfica was cooking last night. Absolutely wrong.
They sure were. Was that a bigger shock? Was that a bigger shock than Lille beating Real? The way Benfica took Atletico apart? I'm a good bit behind. I need to get a better feed here.
Yeah, absolutely.
On that, Zuby.
Right, another one for you. Saying this today. If you were appointed the manager of England,
yes.
Are we going Foden or are we going Palmer?
if I'm appointed the manager of England, am I going Foden or Palmer?
Great decision to have to make.
Oh, wonderful decision to have to make. Really, really wonderful decision to have to make. I think I'm well done. That's great, Johnny Evans. Sorry, I got a better fade. Ball comes in the box there, and Johnny Evans goes to win the header, wins the header, and also gets clattered, so gets the free out as well. Really, really good defending. I think I look at how they're both playing at the minute. I think I look at who's in form at that stage. I think I look at what's ahead of me. I personally think Phil Foden does better work in a tight space. But I think if the game gets expansive and if the game is played like the kind of game we're watching tonight, that kind of open basketball-y game, I think that's where you want Cole Palmer up, because I think his pace and his control is just next level. And I think the way he runs with the ball at his feet and stuff like that is really, really good. Yeah. And he's very clever. He sucks players in, pops the ball off, gets it around the corner and stuff like that. He's a quicker, more dynamic player than Phil Foden. But I still think Phil Foden is a better footballer, if that makes sense.
Yeah, absolutely. I just thought it was a great question today that I seen. So I said,
it is. Well, listen, if you're Lee Carsley, it's a great decision to have, isn't it? It's a great choice. Who do I go with? I looked at the England squad today, and I got to be honest, just brilliant, isn't it?
Yeah.
There's just quality everywhere. Like, they're really, and you're looking and you're like, oh, there's your him, it's mind-blowing. It's mind-blowing. It's up to somebody to win something now, though.
I was expecting a message off you today when the Irish one came out. Troy Parrott.
Yeah.
He's having a good season, isn't he?
He is having a good season. He is. Now, like, oh, that's brilliant, Garnacho. That's really good from Garnacho. Porto are playing out from the back here, yeah? And Garnacho presses, nicks the ball off the centre back, pops it to Xerxes, and as Xerxes gets a nick on the ball, he's fouled, but it gets United right up the pitch, and gets us a free about 20 yards from goal. Is he blowing the whistle? He's blowing the whistle. We have a free 20 to 25 yards from goal, and he's just blowing the whistle. You absolute shyhawk.
Saying that at the weekend as well, one of the games there was a corner and the ref blew the whistle. Did you see that?
Surely though, and he's blown this right on the 95th minute. Now my point would be, if United scored a goal in the added time, where was the additional time?
Yeah.
We scored in the 91st minute. So
surely you would expect at least 30 seconds. No, that's what they normally allocate, isn't it?
But even if it's 30, you get to take the free kick and possibly get a knockdown and create a bit of havoc there. Do you know what I mean? You can put the ball in the box and you can say as a ref, I'm going to let them put it in. As soon as it comes outside the 18-yard box, I'm going to blow it up. And if it doesn't come outside the 18-yard box, they're going to get a winner.
Yeah.
Do you know?
Interesting. Right. Last night and the night before, anything there? Obviously the Real one sticks out. And obviously the Benfica one sticks out. Obviously Aston Villa as well. Little interesting stuff here there out of this week as well. All four English teams won their matches in the Champions League this week, and none of them conceded. That must be a first time for that, I'd say.
Well, I mean, it wasn't that they were. I know a couple of the games are, I expect Liverpool to beat Bologna. Am I shocked it was a clean sheet? No, absolutely not. In a similar fashion to how Manchester City were, I expect them to beat Bratislava. I probably expect a clean sheet. But I mean, Arsenal and Aston Villa doing a number on PSG and Bayern and not conceding a goal is right out of the top drawer. Absolutely right out of the top drawer.
That was a very different PSG team, wasn't it? And I'm not devaluing Arsenal's win in any way at all, but that PSG team looked a shadow of previous PSG teams, didn't it?
Yeah, like
that's nothing against Arsenal, because you have to be who you're out against. So.
Absolutely, and Arsenal were fabulous. To be fair to them, they were fantastic. Yeah. Arsenal are getting really, really good at getting over the line, and teams that do that eventually will win things, for my money. But I think Villa, like, I think they've gone. I know a couple of the games are, Villa are fantastic. They're getting really, really good at getting over the line, and teams that do that eventually will win things, for my money. But I think Villa, like, I think they've gone. I know a couple of the games are, Villa are fantastic. They're getting really, really good at getting over the line, and teams that do that eventually will win things, for my money. I know the Arsenal fans are a little impatient that they won a trophy 5 weeks ago, but I would hang on. I think there's something big coming down the pipe for you. I really, really do. I think that the problem with PSG is, they tried the Galactico thing. It didn't really work. And then, of course, now they've tried the let's buy young, let's buy talented, and it's still a work in progress. Now, they have some unbelievable footballers. They have some really, really good footballers who I think we probably haven't seen the best of just yet. I think it might not be for another year or two until we see the best of, a Warren Zaire Emery, a João Neves, a Desiree Doy, and a Bradley Barcola. Like, these are all really, really talented, good footballers, good young footballers. I think it's just going to be a little bit of time for them to all bed in and pull in the right direction and stuff. But I think having somebody like Luis Enrique there at the helm is a really positive for them, because I think he's the type of guy who can make players better while he's working on the job and while he's coaching the team and stuff like that. And I think if he keeps winning French leagues and titles and regardless of what happens in the Champions League, if they see progress and if they see, players getting better, they're going to just keep it moving, right? It makes sense. Don't think they'll blow the lights out just because he doesn't win a Champions League. Not when you're going up with the likes of Liverpool, Arsenal, Bayern, City, Real Madrid, Inter, Barcelona. Like, it's only one team can win it. That doesn't mean every other team in it's a loser. That's just the facts.
Romy's thinking I could see Arsenal making the final.
Possibly. I don't think, they're going to have all their eggs in that basket, to be honest with you. I think this year the league is Arsenal's main focus. That's what they want. They need Mikel Arteta needs a big trophy, and I think they're well placed to go and win a league title this year after last year.
Yeah, I think you need a lot of luck as well, don't you? You need the draw to go your way, and you need so much times, and maybe that could or couldn't happen. Duran, talk about Duran as well. At Villa, unbelievable the boy is, isn't he?
100%. Yeah, absolutely.
Incredible. So fair play to Villa. Right.
Well, there's two, by the way, who we should mention, because I'm certainly not a fan of Todd Bowley. We know this. I'm certainly not a fan of how things were going at the Chelsea project. Again, I've made no bounds about that. However, two of the guys who are heavily linked with in the summer, John Duran and the boy Samu Oporto. Now, the boy Samu, that's about his 8th or 9th goal this season. He's got 2 tonight. He got 1 the weekend. He got 3 the week before that. So 2 guys performing at a really, really high level. 2 young lads, strong, physical, good footballers. So they might have had their eye in the right direction. They couldn't get the deals over the line, but they look like, in those 2 boys, they were certainly barking up the right trees.
I read an article the other day. Apparently, Mudryk might be available for 35 million.
Which we knew was going to happen. So does Mikel Arteta go back in now? Because wasn't it 60 to 80 million for Mudryk? And now do you come in with 35 and say, we'll take him and because I still think there's a player there.
I suppose it depends on how things pan out with Martinelli, because he's quite loaded over that side, isn't he? Martinelli, Trossard. There's a few there, isn't there? So
he's certainly more loaded on that side than he is on the opposite side.
Yeah, that's what I would have thought.
Which is the Bukayo Saka story, you know. But he may still look at somebody like Mudryk and say, I can get a tune out of that fiddle. And if he can, they could make a tidy signing there. Like 35 million is not a lot of money. He's a young kid. He's got a huge ceiling. Yeah, I agree, Romy. I agree. Absolutely.
Yeah, no, there's no doubt about it then. But I suppose if he had gone down, when did Trossard come in? Was that in around that was after? So they wouldn't have got Trossard then. You know what I mean? And I would definitely rate Trossard over both those boys, to be honest, in my eyes. What do you think?
Over both what boys?
I'd rate Trossard over Mudryk, and I'd rate him over Martinelli.
I think he's different. I think he plays a little more as a 9 sometimes and as a 10. Like, he's not an out-and-out winger. He's not nippy quick. He's not going boy, lads. I think, like, if you look at Martinelli, when Martinelli's in full flow, he's a really, really good player. I think like all attackers, he's gone through, maybe a lack of confidence and stuff like that. He's built himself back up after the injury. But I think on his absolute best day, I have Martinelli over Trossard, if I'm honest.
Would you really?
Yeah.
Over Trossard's best day?
Yeah, would you?
I don't know. I think Trossard.
I think you get more out of Trossard week to week, but I think the ceiling on Martinelli is much higher than it is on Trossard for me.
Maybe, I don't know. For me, it would be Trossard. I think anyway, but that's just we're splitting hairs on it really. The more than that, right? Let's quickly talk about this before we get into our bets. I know you want to discuss it.
Well, I listen. It's not necessarily we want to go over all ground. I know yourself and Mark obviously spoke about it on Monday night. I wasn't there. I was obviously at the game on Sunday. The only thing that really, really pisses me off is, we play best part of 60 minutes between the 5 added in the first half, the 5 added in the second half, and then the 50 minutes from 40 to 90. So we've had best part of 60 minutes with 10 men on the pitch after a decision like this. Now, again, I've spoken before, after the game. I have said I don't think the red card changes the outcome. Yeah. I think Spurs were better everywhere, and flowers to Spurs for that, and to Ange. They were very, very good. The issue I have is we have to then play with 10 men. We get stretched all across the pitch, and we've no way getting into the game. Plus, he's our most creative player. So if the FA hold their hands up and they say, oh, listen, by the way, we got that wrong, we're rescinding it, why isn't the game replayed?
It doesn't happen, does it? Doesn't happen.
I know it doesn't, but my question is, why doesn't it?
Yeah. Well,
in the same way, we had this conversation backstage, in the same way, why wasn't the Sheffield United Aston Villa game played a couple of years ago when the watch didn't work because it hadn't been charged and it wasn't picking up signal and it cost Sheffield United a goal? Well, 3.5 years on, we've Aston Villa in the Champions League, we've Sheffield United in the Championship. That directly affected both of those clubs on the path that they went on. And that wasn't necessarily down to something either of those clubs did. It was something that the FA and the PGMOL got wrong. And that's not right. That's just not right.
Yeah, I've never... It's an interesting situation where you see, like, most fans would be absolutely delighted that the red card is being rescinded, but the rescinding of the red card has dug up so many more other questions and conundrums and everything else and all, and that's a real problem for me. I like, you see refs. Like, there's no fall.
Well, my other problem is whoever was VAR for Sunday's match should be banned this weekend. Shouldn't get a game. No chance. Should you get a game after viewing that? And I'll tell you why. I sat in the Stretford end watching the game. There was a guy 2 rows in front of me watching it on his phone. Now, a phone's not that big. A phone's about, what are we talking here? 4 inches wide and 2 inches high. He sat 2 rows in front of me, and at full speed, at one glance, from 2 rows back, I could tell you there's no contact. And we've a guy that sat in a room with 9 screens and watched it on 15 different views and couldn't come up with the decision that the contact didn't match what the referee saw, or at least to turn around and say to him, listen, Anthony, I don't think you've seen that right. Go and have a look at the screen, see what you think, give him an opportunity. But for him to come out and for VAR to comment on it on X while the game was going on and say that it was looked at and it was confirmed that the referee's decision was correct is more nuts. They're more worried about the social media side of it than anything else while the game was going on.
But is this kind of an extension of what we spoke about a couple of weeks ago on the show, talking about like look after yourself and all this kind of nonsense, and this is how things are? Because if they go and they make that decision, they're kind of semi overruling the ref, aren't they? Really, and then and it's there. It's supposed to be the video assistant, isn't it? It's supposed to be there. You know what I mean?
It's ridiculous. It's absolutely ridiculous. And it's affecting football matches. And it's not affecting them every now and again. It's affecting them week to week. Like, Howard Webb is going to come out and talk the biggest load of monkey spunk,
Ross.
right?
Mm.
When he talks with Michael Owen in this Premier League thing on Sky, and he's going to absolutely dribble through it. And well, we've talked to the referee and the VAR, and we've come to but we played 60 minutes without our most creative player, without our most pressing player, without our captain, and we got absolutely ripped asunder. Now, again, I don't think the result changes, but I think the game is a completely different game. And with somebody like an Eric Ten Hag, who is possibly fighting for his life at Manchester United, I think when a referee gets a decision like that wrong, it heaps a massive amount of pressure onto a guy who's in an already difficult position.
Yep, spot on. Don't disagree with that.
And then look at tonight. We've had it happen again.
Yeah, the other thing that stuck out for me at the weekend as well, and I went through it with Mark as well, there was a number of delayed restarts that didn't end up in bookings and stuff like that. And I was kind of thinking, they're kind of managing these situations now, kind of like a flavor of the month kind of thing. So like, this is our flavor of the month. Punish a lot of things.
We're gonna hammer anyone for this. Yeah, and January's going to be this, February's going to be this, March is going to be this. Stupid.
And I said to Mark about 3 weeks ago, I said, they're going to back off this slow restart, this restart thing, delayed restart thing. They'll back off that in 3 weeks because it's going to just ruin the whole spectacle of what's going on. And lo and behold, you're seeing it there at the weekend. Like there was, and did you see the excuse they gave for the Saka one? The excuse for the Saka one, when Saka was on the ground and the opponent kicked the ball away. The excuse was they didn't book the player for kicking the ball away because there was no Arsenal player in the vicinity to take the free kick.
Yes, I did say it.
What garbage is that? Like they just make it up as they go along, don't they? Really,
it's more dribble. It's more dribble. It really, really is.
Absolutely.
The more, sorry.
Go on, yeah.
I've just seen the first 2 Porto goals. I saw the second one in real time, but I didn't see the first one, and I've just seen it now. Now I can tell you, I know why Marcus Rashford was taken off. Because both crosses that come into the box, the first one that Mazraoui heads, that Onana saves, and the second one that Samu heads, both should be stopped by Marcus Rashford.
I called it well at the start of the match, didn't I? Called it well when the start of the show, I should say. There you go. That's exactly why I said he got hooked.
I can only but agree with you.
Happy days. Right, we do a few bets.
Are we doing the bets before we talk about the Manchester United managerial situation?
Oh, sorry, yeah. Go back to that, actually.
It's okay, no problem. You're welcome. Right, I'm here all week.
Right, go on. Give me your breakdown.
So, we spoke about this Sunday night. Sunday night, myself and the other 4 lads, I've got to give them a shout out. Uncle Gay, Tiernan, Andrew, and Brody Bear. We were all over the game. And after the game, we were discussing who we would have in. So, here's how I approached the situation. I decided to pick up the league table. Yeah?
Yeah.
And I went from top to bottom on the league table. And I said, who would we have? So, Liverpool. Slot's only in the door. He's obviously not leaving. Pep Guardiola, not coming to Manchester United. He's Manchester City boss. Arne Slot, third place is Arsenal. Mikel Arteta isn't leaving Arsenal for Manchester United. Fourth, Chelsea, Enzo Maresca. Again, he's not leaving Chelsea. He's just checked in. Things are going very well, blah, blah, blah. First 4 names in the league. They're not coming. That's fine. We get to Emery. So the general consensus is, would we have Unai Emery? Absolutely. Absolutely. Done a phenomenal job at Aston Villa, has done wonders at Sevilla, has done wonders at Villarreal, and obviously less successful at Arsenal and at PSG. Then it starts to get a little bit interesting. We get to number 6, Fulham. Fulham is where I threw my hat in the ring. I'm a Marco Silva fan. Based on the criteria I would want as a Man United fan for our next manager, I think there's a couple of things are important. And I think one of the things that's important is we need someone who's been successful in the league. Somebody who knows the league, somebody who's going to coach players and make the players we have better. Okay?
Yeah.
I think Marco Silva could do a job. I think. Yeah?
Yeah.
We go to Newcastle. We think kind of the likelihood is Eddie Howe's not coming out of there. Plus, he's probably in the mix for the England job as well. And things have got a little bit stagnant at Newcastle. So we don't have Howe on the list.
But you would take him, I'd imagine, yeah? If you could. Yeah.
He's just not, he wouldn't be in our top 3 or 4.
Okay.
Tottenham, Ange Postecoglou, would I have him? In a heartbeat. I'd swim to Australia and stick him on my back. But we know that because we spoke about it previously. In the same manner, I think you're an Ange fan. I think when it was mentioned that he might go to Liverpool in the summer or before then, it wasn't something you kind of put off. You said, okay, well, if this was going to be the way, you would have been happy with Ange, yeah?
Yeah. I mean, he sort of won me around a bit. Originally, I didn't care for him that much, to be honest.
I think at times the issue is because of the kind of character he is, the way he rubs people up the wrong way, it can be easy to dislike him. But then when you watch how his team plays and you think that could be my team and my jersey and my stadium, I'm all right with that. Do you know? I think, you know, we're at the minute, we're a really, really nice team to play against. We give you chances. We don't perform the dark arts. There's lots of things wrong with us. I don't think that would happen under Ange. You know, I think they're very clever. They're a really clever team, Spurs. Herzler at Brighton, he's not there long enough. He hasn't really proved enough for me. Nuno at Forest, obviously another issue regarding likes to be the big fish in a small pond rather than the small fish in the big pond. Then we come to Bournemouth, 11 in the league table. Andoni Iraola would, for me, and it's interesting because we didn't talk about this.
No.
And he's on the list that you've put forward. For me, he would be very high up that list. Like, for me, just me, I certainly have him ahead of Kieran McKenna, Sebastian Hoeneß, and Maximiliano Allegri.
You mentioned that bit of nastiness that you've kind of lost.
Yes.
Could Allegri bring that back for you? Certainly the style, isn't it?
I think it would be difficult, and I think it would be difficult for 2 reasons. I think the first problem is he plays a very defensive game. The other thing I think the issue would be he would have never played at the kind of speed that the Premier League is. Like, Juve were a good team under Allegri. They played very good football, but they were defensive-minded teams. They were going into games looking to win games 1-0. I think that's difficult when you play in the Premier League because of the talent and the opposition that you face week to week. I think it works in Serie A when you're playing Bologna and you're playing Atalanta and you're playing Cagliari and Piacenza and Lecce. I don't think that works against Villa, against Chelsea, against Brighton, against Spurs. And I think he would find it hard. Me personally, it doesn't mean I'm right. It's just where I am on it.
Interesting.
You know? So Iraola for me would, and the lads also came on board with that one. That's kind of where they were as well. Iraola was up there. And then as you go down the table, you've Brentford. Thomas Frank doesn't interest me. You've United. You've West Ham, Lopetegui, no. You've Ipswich, Kieran McKenna, no. Not for me. You've Everton, Sean Dyche, definitely not. You've Leicester, Steve Cooper, no. You've Palace with Glasner. So Glasner would have been somebody we would have looked at had he been able to keep the ball rolling. Again, if he was able to get the ball rolling again, he's possibly a guy who comes to mind.
Yeah.
And then after that, you're at Southampton, Russell Martin, it's not happening. And Wolves, Gary O'Neill.
No.
You know, no, but certainly an admirer. So for me, looking at the Premier League, you've got Unai Emery, Ange Postecoglou, and Antonio Iraola. They're the three leading candidates in the league for the United job.
And Marco Silva.
I was a Silva fan. Some of the other lads didn't buy into it. But certainly the consensus was Emery, Postecoglou, and Iraola.
Interesting. Good choice. Good breakdown as well. It's nice to break it down.
We were home. We were home in the room on Sunday at 9:30, and match of the day wasn't starting until 10:30. So lads were kind of getting changed, getting into their PJs and whatever. And I was just shooting the breeze. I was like, right, if he gets sacked tomorrow, who do we go for? And lads were kind of throwing names out. And I said, right, let's go. Now, here's the other name that was obviously on the tip of everybody's tongue, but will never happen, was Jurgen Klopp. That was, that was the pie in the sky. Could you get it? Me personally, I don't think Jurgen Klopp is going to ruin what he created and the legacy he created at Liverpool for the Man United job. I don't think so. So I don't necessarily think you would go and have that conversation to be pied off. I think you've got to be smart about this and not go and have that conversation, knowing the likelihood is when he pies you off, that's also leaked, and then you look like an even bigger mug because you've asked her out over there and she's pied you off, and now the other chick in the corner of the room's going, well, I don't fancy either after that. And that's, Yeah,
absolutely, yeah.
So as much as it's something we would like, it's certainly not something I feel would happen. The one thing, and just somebody that wasn't on the list, but somebody I heard mentioned maybe 10 or 15 times whilst in Old Trafford. And to be honest with you, I couldn't believe it, that I was hearing it. And I was like, am I really hearing this? Was Thomas Tuchel. And I was like, my God, how could we possibly be at Thomas Tuchel in a debate? Like, and the guy behind it that said it, I turned, I looked straight in his face and I said, have you been fucking taking something? I said, because if you think anything will get better under Thomas Tuchel in comparison to what we have there at the minute, I said, it's not going to get better. Technically, is he a better manager? I'm not so sure. Also, don't forget, and this is the big fall down with me and Thomas Tuchel, if I left him in my bedroom, he would argue with the fucking curtains. And that's a recipe for disaster with how things are unraveling and how the ball of twine is unraveling at Old Trafford. That would be a recipe. I think the only thing at the minute that's saving Eric Ten Hag is there seems to be harmony. Even though the results aren't necessarily what you would want. There isn't, there are certain players starting to try and pull in certain directions. Onana's putting a foot forward. Okay, Rashford hasn't covered himself in glory with the 2 crosses, but his performances have been slightly better. Some of the younger guys that have come in and had a game here and there, Mazraoui did well when he came in. Like, the Mad has done okay. There's glimpses of stuff. If you can get it all to work together, you might stay long enough. But to have Thomas Tuchel come in, I said, you know what? If Thomas Tuchel comes in, I will genuinely think about giving back my fucking season ticket. That's how strongly I feel.
It kind of feels like you're putting a post into a foundation and then you're taking another post out of that foundation. And you're just trying to, it's a balancing act, like spinning plates on sticks, like in a circus act or something. And you have one spinning and it's going well, the other one falls down. You get that one spin again, the other one falls
down. That's what's, you know what I mean? Because at various times so far this season, you've looked at guys, we spoke about Onana. He's been very good so far. Mazraoui, when he came in, we went, right, this guy's doing really, really well. We've sorted that slot there. You looked at times, and obviously Ahmad, really, really good coming from the right. Garnacho's done stuff from the left. Rashford looks okay. Mainoo's obviously in there. We haven't played a game so far where all 11 players have gone out and give me 7, 8, or 9 out of 10. When that happens, we'll beat teams. But the problem is, it's not happening week to week.
Why is that, do you think?
I don't know. It's hard to put my finger on, because I do seem to think we make a crazy amount of individual errors that you can't necessarily legislate for in a tactical situation. Do you know what I mean? Like, if everyone does their job to a T, that doesn't happen. Okay, well, why didn't it work? Well, this guy made a mistake, okay, and then this guy made a mistake. you're not at a stage where it's got to be pointing fingers at things, or certainly not at players. And that doesn't seem to be what's happening, because I think if he was pointing at players, we would hear discontent and disharmony and stuff like that. The fact he's able to keep people on side will tell you, he's got some sort of way with the players, and they do enjoy a certain part of it. It's just that the individual errors are costing.
It feels like a certain level of living in denial, though, doesn't it? Like when you say, like, he's not directly like, you can say, like, he subbed Rashford tonight. You said you had to look back. You could see why. So
Absolutely.
he doesn't need to go into a press conference and go, I subbed Rashford because of those 2 balls into the box or whatever it is.
No,
but it's very obvious.
It is obvious, but I think, like, if you can also have the conversation with Rashford, and if Rashford, you can say to him, Marcus, listen, the goal was great. The assist was great. But I need you to do this both ways. You did it going that way. You didn't do it going that way. If you stop both of those crosses, we go in at halftime 2-0. Because you didn't, I'm giving you the C. And if you play at the weekend, I want to see you do that way, and I want to see you do it that way. And that's how because you've got to keep him on side somehow. And he has put a much better foot forward this year than he did at any stage last season. I've seen more from him in 6 or 8 games than I had in the whole of last season.
As you said, because it kind of moves around the team and individual errors and stuff like that.
This is it.
Yeah,
this is it.
That's a constant conversation in the tunnel or whatever it is, constantly happening around the training ground, and it just seems like it's just looping around into. Okay, he talks to Rashford tonight about it. In 12 weeks, he'll go around each other individual player.
Now, what I would be hoping is, what I would be hoping is that for tonight, for us to go down to 10 men. And for us to get the draw away from home when it looked like we weren't going to, that galvanizes. And that gets everyone to go again at Villa Park. And then if you can go, and if somehow you can get a result at Villa Park, maybe that builds confidence, and maybe the individual errors, maybe we don't cut them out. But all we need at the minute is the individual errors to not cost us goals and wins. Because let's be honest, players make mistakes in games week in, week out. Sometimes they lead to goals, sometimes they don't. The issue with us at the minute is every time somebody doesn't do their job, a goal goes in.
Yeah, Roger said it last night, remember, with the Dortmund Celtic game. He said he's never experienced a game where every error gets punished.
And that's what's happening to us game to game at the minute.
And that's how football at that level should be, isn't it?
Yeah, like, absolutely. Like,
if you make an error, you should be punished at that level.
And that's the only thing I would say is, like, we talked about the XG thing earlier. We've the 3rd highest XG in the league. We're 12th. Now, that's a combination of not taking the chances you create and giving away way too many goals at the back. There's a balancing act there. If we score 4 more goals and if we concede 4 less, all of a sudden, this picture looks completely different. Completely different. So it's, you know what I mean?
Sounds like a job for Allegri, doesn't it? Tighten up at the back, a few 1-0s, get the confidence back.
I don't think you can play that way in the Premier League, because I think everybody can hurt you. I think you can, you play in Ipswich at the weekend and they can score 2 against you. So then how do you come out and play expansive football to get 3 back? Because Juve were never set up to score 3. Never.
Yeah. No, I see your point, yeah. It's just interesting. We do a few bets, will we?
We will. Shall I lead us out? I have it already.
Yeah. What have you got? What's your first one?
My first one is result and both to score.
Interesting. I'll get mine up then. Yeah.
All my bets this week are... Sorry, I was going to say are trebles. They're not. I have 2 trebles and an accumulator.
I did a treble.
My first one is result and both to score. Bournemouth.
Yep.
Manchester City. West Ham.
I went 3 totally different ones.
Well, Bournemouth, Man City, and West Ham will give you 30-1.
Very good. Would you like my 3?
You've gone, because I know you, Because I know you. You've gone
Well, there's one that's nailed on.
Newcastle.
No. Who's the one that's nailed on?
Aston Villa, obviously.
Yeah, obviously. Yeah.
Yeah, well, I was going Newcastle, Liverpool, and Aston Villa.
No, I didn't put Liverpool in.
No, really?
No. 12:30 kickoff. Dodgy on the bet.
You really worry about these things, don't you?
I went for Brentford against Wolves.
Did you? And that was one of the ones that I couldn't.
Yeah.
I said that's a bit close for comfort.
Yeah, it's just as I said to you in the preview, I said if they get an early goal, I don't know whether Wolves will have it in them. And I went for Chelsea versus Forest.
Yeah.
Chelsea versus Forest, and then Villa versus United. Villa versus United, by the way, is 3-1 on its own.
Very good.
3-1 zone. So that bet altogether, I think it's about 38 or 39-1.
Yeah, I've got 30 with my treble of City, Bournemouth, and West Ham.
Yeah.
I'll go with my cards next, shall I?
God. None tonight.
I'm supposed to say beaten tonight.
Beaten tonight.
I think. I'm not 100% sure. I don't do gibberish, but I tried. I've gone for Daniel Munoz, who is the right wing back at Crystal Palace. He's Colombian. He will more than likely go up against our boy Diaz or Gakpo when he comes on. So that's where I think he might see a card. I've gone for Ashley Young at Everton. I'm assuming Young will play right back. And with Young playing right back, he should be up against left-sided Anthony Gordon. So again, in that sense, I think he's going to be under pressure. We might get a card there. And I'm rounding out with Flynn Downs, who was playing in centre midfield for Southampton. Will be at the Emirates. Will have a tough day with runners, with Saka tucking in, with Moreno, who came off the bench the other night, with Declan Rice, with Thomas Partey. So I've gone Daniel Munoz, Flynn Downs, and Ashley Young. And they are also 30-1 for 3 cards.
Very good. I didn't do a card.
You didn't?
No.
I love me card bet now. I love it.
I did a to score or assist, and I did anytime goal scorer.
Okay, well, why don't you do your anytime goal scorer? Because then I can do to score or assist afterwards.
Okay. Anytime goal scorer coming in. I did, of course, Mo Salah against Crystal Palace. What a record as well he broke last night as well. Incredible.
You did Ollie Watkins.
I didn't do Ollie Watkins. I did Leandro Trossard.
You really like this guy?
I certainly do. I did Brian and Buemo.
Would you have him at Liverpool?
Trossard.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Wanted him.
Would you? Yeah.
Wanted him, yeah. Wanted him.
Who does he get? Who spot does he get? The 9?
I was thinking that, yeah. That's what I was thinking. He's just, you know something? He's just so good for a goal. Do you know he reminds me so much at times of Jota. Because he has a little...
So that's why I'm looking going...
He has a little streak in him as well.
Where would he go?
But he's always fit. He's generally always fit. He's generally not injured. You know, and a great option to have.
You know? Okay.
Brian and Buemo.
Yes. Love the guy. Love the guy.
Hopefully another early goal. And the last one I went for, which is obviously going to shock you, I thought on the back of getting the red rescinded, Bruno Fernandes.
Because he shouldn't be playing. And he gets rescinded and scores. And you know what? If I remember rightly, he scored a penalty there last year, didn't he?
He did. So that was my thinking.
That must pay money.
It pays
60.
I'll tell you now. It pays 55-1.
I wasn't bad. I was pretty close.
Yeah, pretty close.
Right. I'm gonna finish off. Here's my last one.
Okay.
To score or assist. Anthony Gordon going back to Everton.
Yes, great show.
Yeah,
Yeah.
love the kid. Huge fan of him. Huge fan of him.
And he better celebrate as well.
I think he will after the stick the Everton fans gave him.
100%.
I think he'll jump into Gladys Street and whip his banger out, actually.
They better have VAR.
Did you see it? No. Slow-mo.
We just want to see that from every angle to make sure it exists.
I'm actually, it's funny we spoke about him. I'm gonna go Jota because he didn't play in the Liverpool game against Bologna. So my suspicions, when I say he didn't play, he didn't come on to the last 25 minutes or whatever it was. So my suspicions were they were going to keep him because he got the goals last week. I thought they'll keep him for the start at Selhurst Park. And that's why I think he's always good for a goal or an assist. He likes to float around that 6-yard box. Very good in the air. Likes a rebound off a goalkeeper and can play any of the boys in around him, Diaz or Salah.
Yeah.
I have to go to one of last week's heroes, Dominic Solanke. He's really started to get the ball rolling at Spurs. He was a little bit slow to start, but things are building nicely now, shall we say? And I think Brighton will give away enough chances that Dominic Solanke will get on the score sheet or he'll make an assist. And then I'm rounding out with a guy I've spoken about for the last few weeks. I put him into my fantasy football team last week, and he came up trumps. And I have him in again. Loved his all-round play, but last week he got a goal to match his all-round play, and that was the boy Evan Nilsson at Bournemouth. Thought he was very good. And if you've seen Bournemouth on Monday night against Southampton, his work rate was off the charts. They took him off after about 65 minutes, and the lad couldn't breathe because he had left absolutely everything out there. He's like a Roy of the Rovers. He just wants to pick the ball up, drop a shoulder, get a shot off. Really, really good, pro, puts his whole heart and soul into it, puts a huge amount of effort in, and I like guys like that. So Anthony Gordon, Jota, Evan Nilsson, and Dominic Solanke. It's only 25-1.
Yeah,
but it's goal or assist.
It was tight this week to do it as well, obviously. Mine's only 6-1, but I only did a double. I told you the problem earlier, bringing up the goal and assist.
So you did, yeah.
So I went for 2 6-4. It's very simple. Bruno Fernandes and Trent Alexander-Arnold. And that wheel is 6-1.
Goal or assist, is it?
It's goal or assist, yeah. Goal or assist. Gives you 6-1. It's not huge odds, but it'll certainly.
Listen, I'd prefer a 6-1 winner than a 10-1 loser.
Cover the chipper Saturday evening or whatever, or Sunday evening, I suppose, because you're playing Sunday, aren't you?
Can't do chipper. Can't do it. Not on the new tablets. Can't do it. No. It's
tough. That's tough.
Brilliant. Yeah, it is. I'm not going to lie.
You can't do anything from it.
No, the grease.
That's a shame.
The grease reacts with the tablet, and I get the acid reflux up into the neck. Nobody needs that stuff going on in their life. I can promise you that. So I avoid it now.
I might have to start sending you pictures now.
That's okay. I can live vicariously through you. I can have Chinese and it's no bother. I feel great after the Chinese.
I could get the GIF ones where it has the steam coming up off it and everything, so you can nearly smell the salt and vinegar through the phone.
And to be honest with you, that's how I feel about it. Because a few times recently I've seen people and I've been like, oh God, look at that. That looks amazing. But I just can't do it. When you know something is going to hurt you in that kind of way, it's very easy to go and use the roundabout and go around it instead of through the middle of it.
100%, absolutely. 100%. Well, there we go. Another good show in the bag. Really looking forward to the weekend's football. Also looking forward to the fallout from tonight's match 3-3. That should be interesting as well. But if you can, folks, subscribe to the channel, hit the bell notification button, drop a like on the video. I hopefully will be back tomorrow at some stage with a video. I did do a reaction to the Bologna game. Very similar to the Wolves reaction as well. Kind of disjointed, but we did what we did. Should have a preview for the Crystal Palace game. So if you can, subscribe, hit the bell notification button, drop a like in the video, all that good stuff. Thank you to everyone in the chat as always. You guys are absolute legends, and we'll talk to you again real soon. Cheers, pal.
Thanks, buddy.